The person, there comes a day quiet, unannounced, when something inside you refuses to keep living the same story. You wake up, and for the first time, the person, you see your own reflection differently. Not because the world has changed, but because you finally decide to change how you show up in it. Person, that's the day you turn your whole life around. It doesn't begin with fireworks or fanfare. It begins with a whisper. A whisper that says, persons, I can't keep living like this. It's not about hating where you are. It's about realizing you were meant for something greater. You see, person. Transformation doesn't happen when life gets easier. It happens when you decide you deserve better, even if it means walking through discomfort to get there. Change begins the moment you decide that the life you're living no longer reflects the life you truly want. It's that single breath between frustration and action. Person between I wish and I will, but most people wait for the perfect timing, the right resources, or someone else's approval. Person. But real transformation doesn't need any of that. It starts when you say enough, when you stop negotiating with your own excuses. Person. The moment you decide to step forward, even with fear whispering in your ear, something shifts inside you. Person. That decision becomes the spark that lights the fire of your future. Every great change begins quietly. Person, it doesn't announce itself with clarity or confidence. It often begins in confusion, doubt, and discomfort. But that's where growth hides. It hides behind every hard choice you've been avoiding. The decision to change isn't about having all the answers. Person, it's about being brave enough to start asking better questions. When you finally listen to that voice inside you saying, person, I can be more than this, you unlock a version of yourself that's been waiting to lead. That first decision might be small, but its impact will echo through every area of your life. You see, person, the most powerful changes don't happen when circumstances improve. They happen when your mindset does. You can't control the weather of life, person, but you can control how you steer your ship through it. The decision to change it is the moment you take back your power from fear, doubt, and indecision. Person, every dream you've ever had sits on the other side of a choice you keep postponing. The longer you wait for things to be perfect, person, the further you drift from who you're meant to be. But when you decide, truly decide, everything starts aligning in ways you never expected. Person, deciding to change is not about sudden confidence, it's about persistent courage. You might still feel afraid, uncertain, or unprepared, but you move anyway. Person, because growth doesn't come from comfort, it comes from commitment. The moment you decide, you'll notice resistance, doubt, distractions. Person, maybe even people who question your vision. But that's not a sign to stop. It's proof you're heading somewhere new. Person, change doesn't reward those who wait. It rewards those who act despite waiting for the right time. Person, the beauty of a decision is that it doesn't just change your direction, it changes your energy. When you decide, person, you start attracting opportunities that match your determination. People begin to notice something different about you. Person, you start seeing possibilities instead of problems, potential instead of limitations. The decision creates a shift so deep that your world starts to rearrange itself around your new mindset. Perhaps that's the power of choice. It doesn't just change what you do, it changes who you're becoming. And when that moment happens, when you make that one powerful decision, life begins to respond. You'll find strength where you once felt weak, clarity where there was confusion, and momentum where there was stillness. Person, the decision becomes your anchor, your compass, and your reminder that you were never stuck. You were just undecided. Every transformation starts this way. Person, not with a miracle, but with a moment. A moment when you stop waiting for change and decide to be the change yourself. Person, taking ownership of your story means accepting that your life is not defined by what happened to you, but by how you choose to respond to it. Person, too many people carry their past like a heavy anchor, dragging old mistakes, regrets, and disappointments into every new opportunity. But when you take ownership, person, you stop identifying as the victim of your story and start becoming the author of it. You understand that your past may have shaped you, person, but it does not have to confine you. The moment you accept full responsibility for where you are, you also gain the power to change where you're going. Person, that's not weakness, it's liberation. Every person has a story filled with both light and darkness. There are chapters you're proud of and others you wish you could erase. But true growth comes when you stop hiding from your past and start learning from it. Person, when you own your story, you strip away the power of shame, judgment, and fear. You begin to see that even your scars have meaning. They are proof that you've survived, learned, and evolved. Every mistake becomes a teacher. Person, every heartbreak becomes a lesson, and every setback becomes a stepping stone. Ownership isn't about perfection. It's about acceptance and accountability. Person, taking ownership of your story means refusing to let blame guide your life. You stop pointing fingers at circumstances, people, or fate. Instead, person, you look in the mirror and say, it's on me. That statement doesn't mean guilt. It means empowerment. Because the moment you realize you are responsible, person, you also realize you have control. You can rewrite habits, redirect energy, and rebuild character. When you take full accountability for your life, you stop waiting for someone else to fix it. You become the driver, not the passenger of your destiny. Ownership also demands honesty. Person, you must face the truths you've been avoiding, the patterns, excuses, and fears that keep you stuck. It's uncomfortable, yes, but necessary. Person, change can't happen in denial. When you confront the reality of your life with courage, you reclaim your narrative. You stop saying, this is who I am, and start saying, this is who I was, but not who I have to remain. That shift from avoidance to awareness is what separates those who evolve from those who stay trapped in cycles. The beauty of taking ownership is that it restores your sense of agency. You stop feeling powerless because you recognize your choices matter. Every decision you make today is a pen stroke in the next chapter of your story. You begin to move with intention instead of reaction. Person, you stop living on autopilot and start living with purpose. And soon you'll notice that life starts rewarding your accountability. Opportunities open. Person, relationships deepen, and confidence grows, all because you decided to take control of your narrative. When you own your story, you inspire others to do the same. Your courage gives people permission to confront their own truth. They see in you what's possible when someone decides to rise above their excuses and rewrite their script. Ownership is contagious. Person, it spreads through authenticity and strength. And in time, your story becomes not just a reflection of your journey, but a message of hope for those still afraid to begin theirs. Because when you take ownership of your story, person, you don't just change your life, you light the path for others to change theirs too. Pain can become your power the moment you stop running from it and start understanding it. Every person carries pain. Loss, rejection, disappointment. Person real. But what separates the broken from the strong is what they choose to do with it. Pain isn't a punishment, it's a signal. It tells you what matters, person, where you've grown, and what still needs healing. When you embrace pain as a teacher instead of an enemy, person, it transforms from something that weakens you into something that strengthens you. Person, the wounds you once tried to hide become the very proof that you've survived what others couldn't. The truth is, person, pain forces you to meet the real version of yourself, the one that exists beneath the layers of comfort and control. Person, it strips away illusion and reveals your true character. You don't really learn who you are when everything is easy. You discover it in the moments you're tested. Pain exposes your limits, and then it dares you to go beyond them. Every challenge, every heartbreak, every disappointment is an invitation to evolve. It's life's way of saying, you're not done growing yet. When you allow pain to teach instead of torment, it becomes a source of wisdom. Person, it makes you more patient, more compassionate, and more resilient. You begin to see that the things that once broke you were actually building you. Pain sharpens perspective. It teaches you empathy for others and gratitude for what you have. It humbles you enough to appreciate joy when it returns, person, and it gives you depth that can't be faked. Every great leader, artist, and visionary has used their pain as raw material for greatness. They didn't escape it, they transformed it. But transforming pain into power requires a shift in mindset. You can't heal by pretending you're fine. You heal by facing what hurts. You sit with your pain, you listen to it, and you ask what it's trying to teach you. Person. Maybe it's showing you where you settled too soon, where you ignored your worth, or where you gave your energy away too freely. Person. Pain has a way of making you reevaluate everything, and that's its gift. It gives you clarity through chaos and direction through difficulty. The moment you start using pain as fuel, your entire life changes. Person, you stop wasting energy resisting what happened and start channeling that energy into building what's next. You begin to move with purpose instead of bitterness. Person, you start to see every challenge as a chance to strengthen your spirit. What once felt like the end becomes the beginning of a more powerful chapter. Your scars stop defining your limits and start defining your legacy. Because strength built from pain is unshackable. It's real, tested, and deeply rooted. Person, someday, when you look back, you'll realize that the pain that once made you cry is the same pain that made you rise. You'll see how every closed door, person, every sleepless night, every broken dream led you to become wiser, stronger, and more grounded. Person, that's the quiet magic of pain. It transforms you in ways comfort never could. You'll understand that pain was never there to destroy you. Person, it was there to awaken the power that was always inside you. Replace excuses with action, because excuses may sound reasonable, but they quietly steal your potential. Person, every time you say, I'll start tomorrow, or I'm not ready yet, you surrender a little piece of your future. Excuses create comfort, but comfort creates stagnation. You start convincing yourself that waiting is wisdom, when in truth, it's fear disguised as logic. Person, progress doesn't wait for perfect conditions. It rewards those who move forward despite the odds. The moment you choose action over justification. Person, you begin to separate yourself from the crowd. The world doesn't remember those who had excuses. It remembers those who acted in spite of them. Person, every dream you've ever had depends on a single question: will you do something about it? It's easy to talk about plans, goals, and intentions. Person, but none of them matter without motion. Action has a power that thought alone can never create. You can read all the books, make all the vision boards, person, and map out every detail. But if you don't take that first step, nothing changes. The hardest part of success isn't the work. It's getting started. Once you move, even just a little, momentum begins to build. And that momentum will carry you through moments when motivation fades. Excuses, on the other hand, person, are dream killers. They come dressed as reasons, but their real purpose is to keep you safe from failure. You tell yourself you don't have enough time, money, person, or experience, but what you really lack is commitment. Action doesn't require perfection, it requires courage. Courage to fail, to be judged, to try again. Person, every person who has achieved greatness began with uncertainty. They acted before they felt ready, and that's what made them grow. Person, waiting for confidence before you act is like waiting for the ocean to go calm before learning to swim. It never happens. Replacing excuses with action means owning your choices. You stop saying, I can't, and start asking, how can I? That shift changes everything. Instead of focusing on what's missing, you start finding a way forward with what you have. Action creates opportunity. It opens doors you never knew existed. Person, every time you take a step, you prove to yourself that you're capable, and that builds trust in your own ability. That's where confidence is born, not from success, but from effort repeated until it becomes natural. The truth is, action is the only language that life responds to. The universe doesn't reward good intentions. It rewards movement. Person, the people who change their lives aren't necessarily the smartest or the most talented. They're the ones who refused to stay still. Person, each small step compounds into big results over time. You may not see progress immediately, but consistency has a quiet power that always pays off. You build momentum. Person, and momentum builds mastery. And soon, what once felt impossible starts to feel inevitable. Excuses make your world smaller, but action expands it. When you take that leap, even without clarity, you send a message to yourself: I am done waiting. Person, the fear doesn't vanish, but your courage grows stronger than your hesitation. And that's when transformation begins. Person, every meaningful change starts with a single choice: to act now, not later. Because life doesn't reward those who wait for the right moment. It rewards those who create it. The world responds to your courage because courage is magnetic. It pulls opportunities, people, and possibilities toward you. Person, when you take bold steps in the direction of your dreams, even when you're uncertain or afraid, life begins to rearrange itself to meet you halfway. You start seeing doors open that you didn't even know existed. Courage sends a signal to the universe that says, I'm ready. And when you declare readiness through action, the world takes notice. Fear whispers limitations, but courage speaks possibility. And the moment you choose it, everything around you starts to shift in your favor. Courage doesn't mean the absence of fear. Person means walking forward with fear still in your heart. Too many people wait to feel brave before they act. But true courage after you take the first step, not before it. It's built through movement, not imagination. Every time you do something that scares you, whether it's speaking up, chasing a dream, person, or letting go of comfort, you're teaching yourself to trust your own strength. And once you build that inner trust, life begins to mirror it back. Person, you start attracting experiences and people that align with your boldness, not your doubt. When you act courageously, you inspire others to do the same. Person, people feel the energy of authenticity. It's contagious. Your courage becomes a mirror that reflects their own hidden potential. You never know who's watching. Person who's silently gaining the strength to take their own leap because they saw you take yours. That's how leaders are born. Not through titles or recognition, person, but through example. When you lead with courage, you give others permission to break free from fear and step into their own light. Person. Your courage multiplies beyond you. It becomes a movement. The world doesn't reward hesitation, it rewards conviction. When you speak your truth, take that risk, person, or chase that idea that keeps you up at night, the universe starts responding with opportunities that match your energy. You meet the right people at the right time. As an unexpected doors open, and what once seemed impossible suddenly feels attainable. It's an alignment. The more you act from courage, person, the more life aligns with your purpose. It's as if the world whispers back, finally, you're showing me who you really are. Off course, person. Courage doesn't guarantee instant success. It guarantees growth. Sometimes the world won't respond with applause. It will respond with resistance. Person. But that's how you're refined. Every challenge tests the depth of your conviction. Courage is not a one-time act, it's a lifestyle. Person. It's choosing to keep showing up even when the outcome is uncertain. The world might push back, but if you stay the course, that same world will eventually respect your resilience. It's not the easy victories that earn respect. It's the moments you refuse to quit. And one day, and the person, you look back and realize that everything beautiful in your life began with one act of courage. That conversation you were afraid to have, person, that decision you hesitated to make, that dream you thought was too far-fetched. All of it started the moment you chose to be brave. The person, the world doesn't open up for those who wait for permission. It opens up for those who dare to act. Courage is the key that unlocks everything you're seeking, person, because when you move with courage, the world can't help but move with you. Perveri naf is a new beginning because that word, simple yet powerful, marks the moment your spirit refuses to settle. Person, it's the moment you look at your life and whisper, I'm done living below my potential. Saying enough isn't about anger, it's about awakening. Person, it's the boundary between the person you were and the person you're becoming. Person. When you say, you're not giving up, you're letting go of what no longer serves you. It's the quiet, brave decision to stop tolerating the habits, people or patterns that keep you small and finally make room for growth. That word changes everything. Person, there's a sacred kind of power in reaching your breaking point because breaking points are really beginning points in disguise. The day you say, enough, the world doesn't suddenly become easier, but you become stronger. You stop begging for validation, stop waiting for the perfect opportunity, and start creating your own. It's not the loud declarations that change your life. It's the quiet conviction that says, person, I'm ready to rise no matter how hard it gets. Every ending, no matter how painful, holds the seed of a new beginning. Person, and that seed starts growing the moment you decide you're done living the same story. When you finally say, enough, you reclaim your power. Person, you stop being at the mercy of other people's expectations or life's disappointments. Person, you begin to see that you're not stuck. You're simply standing in a chapter that no longer fits who you're becoming. So the courage to walk away from what's familiar, even when it's comfortable, is what transforms your life. Growth demands separation. Separation from fear, person, from doubt, from the version of yourself that accepted less than you deserved. Enough becomes the bridge between who you were and who you are meant to be. Say enough doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start caring about yourself differently. Person, it's the point where you stop pouring into what drains you and start investing in what fulfills you. You begin to prioritize peace over approval. Person, purpose over comfort, and authenticity over acceptance. You realize that protecting your energy isn't selfish, it's survival. Person, every time you say enough, you take back a piece of yourself that you gave away trying to please others. You begin to live from alignment instead of obligation. Person, and that's where true freedom begins. The beauty of enough is that it clears the space for something new to enter. Person, when you release what's been weighing you down, whether it's toxic relationships, limiting beliefs, or old fears, you make room for better things to find you. Person, the universe loves a decisive heart. It responds to clarity. When you stop sending mixed signals, half in, half out, life finally knows what to send you. Person, new beginnings don't come from waiting, they come from declaring, this is no longer my story. And in that declaration, the next chapter begins to write itself. Person, and one day, you'll look back at that moment you said, enough. And realize it was the most powerful word you ever spoke. Person, because that was the day you stopped chasing what wasn't meant for you and started attracting what was. That was the day you stopped surviving and started living. Every enough is not the end, it's a door opening to a life more aligned, more peaceful, more purposeful. Person. The day you say enough is the day your new beginning truly begins, and that's when life finally starts to rise to meet you.